the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast. What's that noise?
You keep going.
Sorry, did anyone hear that?
Yeah, I heard that.
It was awful. Yeah, okay. Sorry, everyone. The MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented by WinBet. Bet $100 at WinBet and get a $100 free bet. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WinBet. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the MLB Gambling Podcast, complete with three weird noises that I don't know what they are. We'll try and establish in a moment. Today is Tuesday, August the 17th. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England with a full handicap of 15 games for Wednesday, August the 17th. Joining me, first of all, from Houston, Texas, is the machine, Munaf Manji. Munaf, was you making that noise?
I don't think it was me. I don't know. Maybe just a glitch there. But yeah, glad to be back with you boys. Had a good night last night. Hopefully we can continue that on Tuesday and then into Wednesday. So starting to finally read the board, I guess, better than I was last month.
Good man. And also Dylan Rockford joining us this evening. Dylan, how are you doing, man?
Doing well, coming off a big night as well, 6-4. Mets broke my heart last night, but yeah, we hit on the Marlins, and we also hit on the Dodgers. We hit on the Mariners coming through in the ninth. So good, some good hits last night.
Yeah, that Angels Mariners game, I think you kind of feel like you were lucky the way it happened because it was 2-2. And then the Angels threw it into our laps, really. But then also, that was part of our handicap that we said, you can't back the Angels because they will do something like that. So in a way, you feel a little bit fortunate that that's how it happened. But part of the reason we backed them because they keep doing shit like that, Dylan.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we were talking about before we went live, and just not even be on a ground ball to second base, I think, not even being able to get an out is, you just can't put your money on a team like that. So,
yeah, they were really struggling. The other interesting one was the Tampa Bay Rays and the Yankees, because the Yankees just struggled again to score any runs. Lost 4-0 to the Rays, and possibly might just be a little bit of concern. I know Johnny Junta was getting stuck into all of us, actually. He wasn't taking any prisoners yesterday when we brought out our MLB podcast power rankings. Johnny was straight on getting stuck into everyone about how high we'd ranked the Yankees due to their recent form, and was backed that up last night by them being absolutely terrible. But yeah, I went okay. I went 10-6 over on Tally site. Moonaf's having a good month. Dylan, you were second on the leaderboard that appeared over on Twitter yesterday when we were a bit lower down. So, yeah, the boys are going okay, and we look to keep it going tomorrow. We've got some day games tomorrow. First off is lunchtime on the East Coast, 12:35 Eastern, between the Philadelphia Phillies and the Cincinnati Reds, where Ranger Suarez will draw the start for Philly, and Nick Lodolo gets the start for the Reds. I'm using a different page for my lines tonight, but I'll try and keep up. The Phillies are -165. The Cincinnati Reds are +140. And the total here is set at 8.5. And this one is with you. Is it Moonaf, I think?
Yes, sir. Phillies, Ranger Suarez on the mound. I mean, he is having a pretty good season, especially recently. 8-5, 3.52 ERA. Last 5 games, he's 2-0 with a 1.27 ERA. He's only allowed 4 earned runs in 28 1/3 innings pitched. On the road this season, 6-1 with a 2.69 ERA against NL Central teams. He has an ERA of 1.53. His last, like I mentioned, his last 5 starts, he's been absolutely incredible. The Phillies have won his last 5 starts in a row, and they're giving him the run support as well, and they've covered the run line in 3 out of those 5 games where Ranger Suarez has started. So You're going up against Nick Lodolo, who is a left-handed pitcher. His last start was in the Field of Dreams game against the Cubbies. He's 3-4 on the season, 4.72 ERA at home this season, 3-2 with a 3.50 ERA. He has given up some runs over his last 2 games, 7 earned runs in about 9 2/3 innings pitched. The walks are a huge concern for Nick Lodolo, and I think that if the Phillies are able to stay patient at the plate, that they can, get on base that way and really score some runs against Nick Lodolo and the Reds. He's given up at least 2 walks in 5 straight starts. He's given up at least 3 walks in 3 out of the last 5 starts. So I like the Phillies here. I think that they're continue to win games here. I like the first 5 run line. I know people who had the full game run line yesterday got a bad beat with Noah Syndergaard being out there for one pitch too long. So I'm going to shrink this down. I'm going to go with that first 5 run line for the Phillies with Ranger Suarez, especially with the form that he is in, Malcolm.
Dylan, first game of the night, Phillies at the Reds.
Yeah, I'll start off with the home puppy boys. Give me the Reds on the money line, plus 130. I only made the Phillies a minus 120 favorite with Ranger Suarez on the mound. The Reds, they did play the Phillies pretty tough in the first game. I was on that bad beat Moonoff, so tough one for us. But Nick Lodolo, I think he's been really good at home. In his last 3 starts at home, he's been able to pitch 16 innings, and he's only given up 5 runs. The Reds won 2 of those last 3 games as well. So the Reds, they usually give him some run support, and I know taking the Reds is very risky right now, but I think Lodolo can keep him in the game if he, like you said, if he's able to keep walking. So they're live here at home, so give me the home puppy here.
That's a brave pick, Dylan, but I don't mind it. The Reds are going to win the odd game here and there. I didn't mind Lodolo, actually. I think he's got potential. I think there's better days ahead for Lodolo, and I felt like backing him here, but I wasn't as brave as you in taking the Reds. But I did come down on the side of the under here. Just the fact the Reds don't score that many runs, even though you mentioned Lodolo does get some run support. Suarez is going along better than I thought he would be, actually. I thought he was a candidate for a bit of regression in the second half of the season, but that hasn't transpired. So the line is at 8.5, which is a lot when you take into account how many runs that the Reds do score. So I'll start off with an under in the Phillies and the Reds. 1:05 Eastern. First pitch is the Chicago Cubs at the Washington Nationals. Lefty Drew Smyly takes the hill for the Cubs, and Corey Abbott goes for Washington. The Chicago Cubs are minus 140. Washington Nationals are plus 120. Total here is set at 9. Drew Smyly 5-6, 3.69 ERA. His pitch 70 2/3 with 61 strikeouts. Abbott is 0-2 with a 5.94 ERA, 16 2/3 and 16 strikeouts. Smiley's been going along really nicely. 2.42 in his last 5 starts, and he's got a 5 earned run start thrown in there as well. He's pitched well against the Mets and the Phillies, so he's been competitive against the better teams. And I think he can go well here against probably the worst hitting team in MLB, I would say. This is going to be Corey Abbott's 4th start for the Nationals. 2 of the 3 he's had have been poor, and there's really nothing to trust. Excuse me. In what Abbott's going to give us tomorrow. I handicapped all of these games much earlier on before I saw any prices. And I had the Chicago down as a win with a question behind it. So I don't mind them at a minus 140. I'd happily take a minus 140 price here. I've actually got them down on the run line at plus 130. I think they can cover. I think they can get ahead on Abbott quite early. And I think they'll stay there. So, everything Cubs related for me tomorrow. Moonoff, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm just looking at Washington's numbers against left-handed pitching, and they are number 12 in WRC+. I also see that they are, let me see, I was trying to figure out their slugging percentage against left-handed pitching, number 7 over the last 2 weeks, and they're also number 8 in OPS against left-handed pitching. So I think this might be a game where we do see runs being scored. I mean, you mentioned it. Corey Abbott hasn't been that great, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Over his last 5 games, 0-2, 6.32 ERA, allowed 11 earned runs in about 15 and 2/3 innings pitched. Got blown up against the Phillies in a road start. And again, his last start against the Padres, he gave up 3 earned runs off of 4 hits in that game. Walks are he's another pitcher that walks are concerned is Corey Abbott. He's given up at least 2 walks in 3 straight games and allowed at least 3 walks in 2 out of the last 3 games. So I think I like the over in this game between the Cubs and the Nationals. Nationals, even with the loss of Juan Soto and Josh Bell, they're still able to put up runs. And I don't trust the bullpen of the Nationals either. So give me the over in this game between the Cubs and the Nationals.
So 1 for the Cubs, 1 for the overs. Dylan, what's the third vote?
Yeah, give me the Cubs here on the money line. Malcolm, I was able to get a -130. At a -140, I still like him. I favored him up to a -155. I think it's good value here with the much better pitcher in Drew Smyly. 4 of his last 5 wins have come on the road this season. So he hasn't allowed a single run in the month of August, and he pitches much better during the day where he's 3-1 with a 2.20 ERA. So the Nationals, they did take the first game of the series, but in this matchup, I don't think they'll be able to get to Smyly. So the Nationals strike out the 3rd most in the league. So maybe you want to look toward his Smyly K prop, but I'm going to play it safe and take the Cubbies here on the money line.
Next up, in fact, I'll say good evening to Captain Insano. Captain Insano is in the chat tonight. He is this week's opponent for me in the D-Gens League. You'll notice Noah's still in hiding after I spanked him last week for the 2nd time this season. So hopefully he'll get over it and come out of hiding for a show here at some point this week. But Captain Insano is in the chair this week, and he's doing a lot better. In fact, I think he's top of the table. But I feel like I'm going to give him a little bit of stick this week. So good evening to you. Thank you for joining us. 1:10 Eastern, first pitch is the Kansas City Royals against the Minnesota Twins, where Daniel Lynch will take the hill for the Royals, and Tyler Mahle goes for Minnesota. The lines are plus 155 for the Kansas City Royals, minus 180 for Minnesota, with a total here set at 8.5. Dylan, you can lead us off with this one.
Yeah, give me the Twins here on the run line. I love backing Tyler Mahle in this spot going up against Daniel Lynch, who isn't really backable for me right now. He's faced the Twins 3 times. He's 1-1 with a 3.86 ERA. The Twins were able to take 2 of those 3 games as well. The last 3 wins for the Twins over the Royals have been by 2 or more runs. So when they beat them, they do usually cover the run line. So I think the Twins have the better bats, and I expect Mahle to really limit the Royals' opportunities. So I got it at a plus 135 on the run line, so I'll happily take that.
Nice. Munaf, Kansas City at the Twins.
It makes me nervous that Tyler Mahle is still struggling in home starts. I know he's with Minnesota now, but he had a game against the Toronto Blue Jays at Target Field there, and he still gave up 4 earned runs off of 5 hits, 3 of which were home runs. And then he went on a road start against the Angels. I know it was the Angels. Their offense seems to be turning it around a bit. I know they got David Fletcher back. Last night was we already talked about it. It's a joke of a franchise right now, but I see the case where, again, I talked about a lot that Guardians, White Sox, Twins are all in the battle for the AL Central, and that this is where they need to, beat up against a lesser competition. But Daniel Lynch, he's been pretty good so far this season, especially over his last 5 games, 1-0 with a 3.38 ERA. Has faced the Minnesota Twins 3 times already this season. He has a 3.86 ERA against them, 6 earned runs off of 14 innings pitched. I just think that, I don't know, I feel like there is some value on the Royals here on the money line price, but I'm not going to back it. But if you had a gun to my head, I would bet on the Royals at plus 155 price.
Okay. It was another total for me, and it was another under. I like both these pitchers. Mahle's been great recently. And I've watched probably too much Kansas City Royals than anyone should have to. They seem to have had a lot of games that fit my time zone over the last 3 or 4 weeks. And the Royals and Lynch has been going okay. In Kansas City, I don't mind watching them, but they don't score an awful lot of runs. I thought both pitchers could keep this tight. Maybe a first 500 might be a better way to go here. I do think the Twins will win, as Dylan pointed out, and it might be something like a 4-1, 5-1, something like that. So yeah, I take the Twins, but A low-scoring game, a slow burn, a first 5 under, or a full game under at even money would be the way I would play this one. 3:07 Eastern first pitch, the Baltimore Orioles and the Toronto Blue Jays. Austin Voth takes the hill for Baltimore, and Ross Stripling is back. He is going for Toronto. The Baltimore Orioles are plus 140. The Toronto Blue Jays minus 165. Total here is set at 9. Moonaf, lead us off with the Orioles at the Blue Jays.
Yeah, it was really hard for me to come down on a side in this game. Austin Voth has been pretty good over his last 5 games. So he has a 2-0 record with a 2.61 ERA. Doesn't have much history against the Toronto Blue Jays, at least this season. He's pitched in 2 innings against them, gave up 1 earned run. On the road is where he's gotten into trouble this season, 1-1 with a 5.46 ERA for him. And then, like you mentioned, Ross Stripling is back for the Toronto Blue Jays. His last start was on July 30th. He's allowed given up, at least 2 earned runs in 4 out of his last 5 starts prior to going on the IL. Over his last 5 games, 1-1 with a 3.24 ERA. At home this season, 2-2 with a 3.02 ERA. And I want to filter this down and see how he's done against the Royals in his career. He did face them 3 times last season, and he has an ERA in that span of 5.84 with a 1-0 record. So this Baltimore Orioles team, they're a feisty bunch. And, they got the victory against Kikuchi. They face Alek Manoah on Tuesday evening. I think this may be a spot where, again, I think we see runs being put up. I don't trust Austin Voth, especially on the road. If this was a home game for him, I would definitely be backing him. But I think that we do see some runs being scored here in this game. So give me the over 9 between the Orioles and the Blue Jays.
So a total for Moonaf. Dylan, what was the number that you manufactured for this one?
Yeah, I'm actually going to go on the other side. Give me the under 9. I made my total 8.7. I know when these two teams get together, it usually means runs will be scored. But I think this matchup between Stripling and Voth can get us under the number. Austin Voth has done a good job on the road his past 4 games. Only 3 runs given up on the road in 15 innings. With Stripling, he is being activated off the IL. And usually I like to fade pitchers coming back. But from what I saw for him before going on the IL, makes me confident he'll have a strong outing here against the Orioles. So I'm banking on both pitchers have strong outings. So give me the under 9 at minus 115.
Yeah, you're right. Stripling was going okay before he got hurt. I've got slight reservations about him, but I've got bigger reservations about the Blue Jays. They're not in the same category exactly as the Angels or 1 or 2 other teams that we just can't bring ourselves back at the moment. But minus 165, they're certainly not to be trusted, Toronto. And I think they've just on the value here. Baltimore, they beat them last night. There's obviously going to be a game in between that one and the one we're handicapping now. But Baltimore plus 140 on the money line. I've got no problem with that at all because they've been more than competitive. And you just can't trust Toronto. So, yeah, I'm happy to take the value with the Baltimore Orioles. 4:07 Eastern first pitch. This is our only TBD pitch for the game. Therefore, numbers not on the board for this one. It's the Seattle Mariners against those LA Angels. Probably a good job the Angels on the board. We just pan them again. George Kirby goes for the Mariners. Like I say, nothing for the Angels. Therefore, no lines. George Kirby, he's been great. 4-3 with a 3.39 ERA, 85 innings and 86 strikeouts. But he's had 4 starts back in the rotation. He started earlier in the season, was out for a little while, and he's been back. And he's starting to fulfill that hype now. There's a lot of talk about him, and he's been really, really good. So I expect a good start from Kirby, but apart from that, I can't really add much. Maybe possibly a K prop on Kirby. We talked last night that the Angels do strike out a lot. I didn't actually see the K numbers last night. I don't know if one of you two boys has them in front of you. In fact, sorry, it's the game we're talking about tonight. We're talking about Robbie Ray and Robbie Ray, who goes against the LA Angels tonight. So it might be worth keeping an eye on how many times the Angels strike out tonight and see if George Kirby can get to them tomorrow. But yeah, nothing else from that one on me with a lack of info. Moonaf, Mariners, or anything particularly on just how terrible the Angels are?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you can put your hard-earned money behind this team right now. I mean, last time was a prime example. We talked about this at the top of the show there, Malcolm. it's just they're just phoning it in for the season. The Mariners have a lot to play for, right? They're in that wild card race in the American League. George Kirby has been okay. Speaking of the Robbie Ray, I know it's on Tuesday night, but I did take the over on his strikeouts. He struck out, if you're watching this live, this may be something that you may want to get down on. He faced the Angels twice already this season, and he has 10 strikeouts in both of those games. So right now it was listed at 7.5 for this morning. And last night we saw Luis Castillo get 9 strikeouts in about 6 or 7 innings there. So as far as the game for Wednesday, I'm sorry to get off track there, but yeah, not much information without the pitcher for the Angels there. But again, I think regardless, it has to be Mariners or nothing for me, Malcolm.
Dylan, anything to add to this?
No, nothing really. I hope we could get the Mariners under a -140. I mean, Captain Insano, he did say Kirby in his 2 games versus the Angels, 14K. So maybe you want to look towards a K prop with Kirby. He's had a lot of success against the Angels. So I like that play. I'll probably tell him.
Yeah, exactly right. Sharp play there. The lines that we're going to give out, the place you need to go to find them and take advantage of the best place to place your baseball bets is with WinBet. The perfect time, if you bet $100, you'll get a $100 free bet, and you can also avail yourself of the reduced juice in baseball games. Or like I say, WinBet is the best place to bet MLB. The casino at WinBet is open 24 hours a day. You'll get a 100% deposit match up to $1,000. And Win also just released their first quarterback with 5 touchdowns prop bets as well. Loads to choose from. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/winbet. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today. Offer subject to change. T's and C's at winbet.com. Must be 21 or older and present in the state where playthrough WinBet is available. If you're someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. And Odds Trader, can't talk enough about this. Odds Trader has all the tools you need under one roof. They will compare odds from all major sports books. They will compare and give you the best sign-up codes, promo codes, bonuses, things like that. So your money goes further. And then you've got the in-game stuff as well. So all the statistics, key game stats, injury reports, game day weather. On top of that is the bet tracker, which is a great tool for all us DGens as well. So odds.
Did we lose Malcolm? I think we lost Malcolm here. So let's see what happens here if he comes back or not. But I know he's talking about Odds Trader. Which game did he leave off on there, Dylan? Was it the Jays game? You're on mute.
This is going like shit. The last game we talked about was Mariners Angels. Now we're on Padres Marlins.
All right. So here I'll get over to the Padres Marlins here. 5:10 Eastern start between the San Diego Padres and the Miami Marlins. Mike Clevenger on the mound for the San Diego Padres, and Pablo Lopez takes the mound for the Miami Marlins. Looking at the lines for this game, currently seeing the Miami Marlins are a +120 home underdog, -140 on the money line for the San Diego Padres. Over-under set at 7. Run line -1.5, +130 for the Padres, and +1.5, -150 for the Miami Marlins. Dylan, why don't you lead us off here for this game between the Padres and the Marlins?
Yeah, so I took the Marlins in the first 2 games of the series, and I usually like to back Pablo Lopez, but I just don't think this is a good spot. He just hasn't looked the same in his last 3-4 starts. So the Mariners, they've actually lost his last 3 starts at home. And, oh, by the way, the Marlins can't seem to score more than 3 runs. So I don't expect them to give Lopez any run support. I think Mike Clevenger is the better pitcher right now. Besides that one bad start against the Dodgers, he's been pretty solid on the road. Everyone really has a bad start at some point against the Dodgers. So I trust the bats to turn it around for the Padres much more than I do the Marlins. So at this short price, I got the Padres at a -130, so I'll take them on the money line.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it. Pablo Lopez was a pitcher that was doing really well early on in the season, but over his last 5 games, he's 1-3 with a 6.39 ERA. The one bad start was against your Mets there, Dylan, where he gave up 6 earned runs in 2 2/3 innings pitched. he was okay in his last start against the Atlanta Braves, where he did go 5 2/3 innings and allowed 2 earned runs to the Atlanta Braves. And again, the offenses of both of these teams are a question. It's crazy to say that about the Padres after getting Juan Soto and of that, and it seems there's just something not right with this Padres team here right now. So, and you mentioned again the Marlins are just on that streak of where they haven't scored more than 3 runs. Fortunately for them, last night they got it done with a 3-0 victory over the Padres. But at some point the offense is going to turn around, and we probably want to get ahead of that curve. Maybe it is this game with these two pitchers. I would slightly lean towards actually the over in this game at a number of 7. I think Insano also agrees that it's maybe on the first 5 innings total. You want to probably take a look at the over 3.5 in this game as well with these two pitchers on the mound. All right, still missing Malcolm, but I'll keep it going here, guys. Next game on the board. It's going to be, let's go with the Tampa Bay Rays and the New York Yankees in Yankee Stadium. 7:05 Eastern start. Corey Kluber takes the mound for the Tampa Bay Rays, and Domingo Germán is on the mound for the New York Yankees. Looking at the lines for this game, I'm currently seeing, give me 1 second, bear with me. I am currently seeing the Yankees. Okay, my screen just went out too. Boy, we're just all over the place today. Yankees minus 155 on the money line, plus 135 road underdog for the Tampa Bay Rays. Over under set at 8 with juice towards the under at minus 115. Run line minus 1.5, plus 130 for the New York Yankees, and plus 1.5, minus 150 for the Tampa Bay Rays. Dylan, why don't you lead us off here for this game between the Rays and the Yankees?
Yeah, I don't think this pick will come as a surprise, but I'm just going to continue to fade the Yankees. It looks like Stan will be out a little longer than expected. I mean, he's had a history of injury, and usually when they say 2-3 weeks, just double. It's going to be 6 weeks with always with him. So, and it doesn't help that they aren't getting help from guys like Gleyber Torres, Hicks, and Judge can't hit a home run every game. So
yeah,
I think it's bad when IKF is the only one producing runs. So I think everyone saw the clip last night of Rizzo banging his helmet on the dugout, and I think they all know in the clubhouse something's going wrong with this team. So I just can't, in good faith right now, put money on this team. They have been held scoreless in the past 2 games, which is crazy to say with this lineup. So I think their struggle continues. So give me the Rays at this price. I got them at a plus 150.
Yeah, Corey Kluber of his last 5 games, he's 2-2 with a 6.91 ERA. I mean, he gives up the runs. He's given up at least 3 earned runs in 5 straight games. He's given up at least 4 earned runs in 4 of the last 5 games. He got shelled by the Baltimore Orioles in his last start, where he went 5 2/3 innings, gave up 10 hits and 7 earned runs to the Orioles in that game. And I think these are 2 offenses where, like you mentioned, and we can't get behind right now for whatever reason. I mean, when you look at this Yankees offense, you have Aaron Judge, DJ LeMahieu, but after that, do they really have anybody in this lineup that can hit for average and home runs outside of Judge and Stanton? I just don't see it. And Aaron Hicks has just been absolutely atrocious for this Yankees team. So again, I made the mistake last night of taking them on the run line minus 1.5. I mean, Garrett Cole did well in the first 6 innings of that game, but they just weren't able to score runs like we just mentioned. So I think that we may have to take a look at the under in this game until the offense, at least for the Yankees, turns it around here. I think the 8 may be a smidge too high, especially with both of these pitchers. And Domingo Germán has been going very well for the New York Yankees. I mean, you take a look at his numbers for this season, or since he returned. He's 1-2 with a 4.18 ERA, but at home he's 1-0. Only has 1 home start so far this season. It's crazy to think that he's at 2 earned runs and 6 off of 6 hits for the New York Yankees. And trying to get Malcolm back here, and Malcolm is back. Malcolm, what happened, buddy? Did your power go out or something?
Power went out, and I had to go and get the IT department out of bed to come and fix it. You know how that works. So yeah, I don't know what happened. Is the short answer. Oh shit! Right, okay. Anyway, what did I miss? So is everyone having a lovely time?
Yeah, so we got through the Marlins and the Padres game, and we're on the Rays and Yankees. If you want to give your handicap for that, and then take it from here.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that, everyone. Everything. Yeah, my phone died and my computer died all at the same time. So I'm guessing the internet died is what happened. So where are we? The Tampa Bay Rays. Corey Kluber, 7-7, 4.40 ERA, 116 and 2/3 pitched with 103 strikeouts. Domingo Herman, 1-2, 4.18 ERA, 23 and 2/3 pitched, 17 strikeouts. Kluber struggling last five, 6.91 ERA. Those five starts, he's given up 7.3, 4.44 earned runs. He's got a 4.42 road ERA on the season. That's pitched 12 innings against the Yankees this year, only given up one earned run. This is going to be Herman's sixth start. He's beginning to get stretched out now. He went 6 innings for the first time in his last start. And his last 4 starts have all given up only 1 or 2 runs. This game, I would like to know the result of what happens in the game that's going to go the Tuesday night game before I handicap this one. It's really tricky because I thought the Yankees would get right last night. On Monday, they didn't. They didn't score any runs. They lost 4-0. And then I've picked them to win as a good get-right spot on the Tuesday night. But if they don't do it tonight, then you're going to have to leave them at some point. You just need to leave them alone for a little while. So tentatively, I had the Yankees down. Like I said earlier on, I handicapped these games before I saw any prices at all. So I had the Yankees down tentatively as my winners for this one. But that price is now coming out. Let's have a look. -175. So that's not very fancy. What I'll do here is I'll go a little bit safer. I'll take the under 8, just with the Yankees not scoring very many runs, even though Kluber has given up a few. But he's gone well against the Yankees so far this season. And I think Herman can go okay against the Rays. So we'll go for a low-scoring game because, like I say, I don't trust the Yankees or the Rays really at the moment. That would be my reading of it, Munaf.
Yeah, 100%. I like the under in this game as well. Again, both these offenses are struggling, and we're just kind of talking about how the Yankees offense, I mean, it's Aaron Judge, and nobody else has really stepped up for this offense. I know they're missing Stan right behind Judge there, but it's not good times. And I made the mistake last night, like I was telling Dylan earlier, that I put my money on the Yankees run line last night. Garrett Cole had a good outing, but it just wasn't the offense just wasn't good enough, and it hasn't been, ever since Stanton left. So I'm on the under 8 in this game here, Malcolm.
Dylan, same with the magic number?
Yeah, I do like the under. Both offenses are struggling. I did take the Rays before you got back on. I took them on the money line at +150. But
okay, sorry.
No, you're good. Excuse me. Back to Munaf's point. He made a really good point earlier. Was saying that there's no one really on this Yankee lineup that hits for average besides IKF.
Yeah,
they don't really have anyone, and I don't think Cashman gets enough blame, because if this trade, when he traded Montgomery for Bader, and Bader doesn't come back healthy and swing the bat really well, then I just question a lot of the moves that he made at the deadline, especially Frankie Montas and not being able to get Luis Castillo, and then Luis Castillo pitching a gem against you. So some questionable moves they made, and we'll see if it pays off for them.
I think this is the one area where I'm sorry, Malcolm, to interrupt you.
Go on, man, you're good.
Where the Yankees struggle with is because I feel like they're just relying on guys to come in and hit for power, like up and down the lineup. Like you have Anthony Rizzo, Aaron Judge, Stanton, like guys that just hit home runs, versus if I was putting it together a team, I would at least at the 1 and 2 spot, I want guys that can hit for average, guys that can hit above 300, get on base, and then let my power guys come in and drive those runs. And I think this is where like teams like the Astros have done a great job, where they have Jose Altuve, guy that can hit for average. And then, you have the number 2 spot when they had Michael Brantley, another guy that can hit for average and get on base. And then you have guys like Yordan Alvarez and Alex Bregman, those guys coming in behind them and driving in those runs, whether it's via, extra base hits or over the fence. I think that's the one area that the Yankees, I feel like, really struggle in.
Yeah, completely agree. They don't have many of those bits and bobs players. IKF is one, LeMahieu, and kind of if they're not performing, someone like Aaron Hicks who can steal a base, and if he's not performing, they don't have much else. They become pretty one-dimensional, and if that one dimension isn't rolling, which it's not at the moment, it does leave them exposed and vulnerable. You're absolutely right. Run Your Pool, Moonaf's favourite, the home of competition, bringing sports, fans, and their social circles together to compete, connect, and make every game matter more. Run Your Pool offers every game type under the sun, from pick'ems and survivors to fantasy pools. It's a one-stop shop for sports gambling with customizable features that you don't get anywhere else. We have teamed up with Run Your Pool to host a pool for our official SGP and NFL Survivor contest. It's free to enter, some really amazing prizes. Hop in now to reserve your spot. Sign up today at runyourpool.com/SGPN. That's play.runyourpool.com/SGPN. 500 cash and 250 gift card to the winner. Sleeper, the fastest growing fantasy platform. I have my first draft. It's the D-Gens draft as well. Cody Zeeb from the NASCAR Gambling Podcast, who've been on absolute fire lately, by the way. If you're not following them, if you're not in NASCAR, it's like finding money in the street listening to those boys. So get across and give that one a listen. But I'm drafting on Sunday night. That was a really fun league as well last season. And we're doing that on Sleeper, the by far best fantasy app to use. And Sleeper have added a over or under game so you can win some money as well. The first fantasy app to integrate a sports contest game into your fantasy experience. The chat box is fun. Tell all your friends picks, pick a player or two, pick the props, and then you can win 2 to 20 times your stake. If you go to sleeper.com/SGP, Sleeper will automatically match that first deposit up to $100. Go to sleeper.com/SGP. You'll get $100 match on your first deposit. T's and C's apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. 7:10 Eastern first pitch is the Detroit Tigers at the St. Louis. It's not the St. It's the Cleveland Guardians. I got the second name right tonight. It was the first name that stumped me. Daniel Norris, left-handed pitcher, will go for the Tigers, and Cal Quantrill is on the hill for Cleveland. The lines on this one are Detroit plus 175. Cleveland are a prohibitive minus 205. Totally are set at 8. Moonaf, over to you with this one. There was a little Javi Baez special last night. You sent me the link to in the chat this afternoon when he played a beautiful cricket shot. He lofted it on drive over the bowler's head for 4 runs into outfield. Beautiful. I bet Mr. Manji would have been proud of that if that was Javed Miandad or Sunil Gavaskar or one of the great Pakistani batsmen.
Yeah, that was really funny to see. And I think I was watching this game live because I was on the Guardians, and you even saw the reaction. I think it was a closer for the Guardians who had the reaction. He just kind of turned around and laughed when he saw he hit the ball that bounced like in front of the plate, like kind of like a cricket swing. It was funny to see. Just lost my. Okay, we're on the you said Tigers and Guardians, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, Daniel Norris is on the mound for the Guardians here. He is 0-4 on the season with a 5.97 ERA for this Detroit Tigers team, and he's done pretty well over his last 5 games, or at least his last start, or his last 5 appearances. I'm sorry, is what I'm trying to say. He's 8 1/3 innings pitched, only allowed 1 earned run in that span. Has given up 6 walks. He did have a start last game against the Chicago White Sox. 4 2/3 of shutout baseball. He only allowed 4 hits in that span. But again, can we really get behind the offense of the Detroit Tigers? I know they broke out a little bit in Game 2 of the doubleheader last night, but Cal Quantrill on the mound for the Guardians. He's 3-0 in his last 5 games with a 3.38 ERA. Pitched pretty well against the Tigers this season in 2 appearances and 2 starts. He's 1-1 with a 2.70 ERA. Only allowed 3 earned runs in 10 innings pitched. The one thing that really sticks out to me about Cal Quantrill is at home this season, he's a perfect 6-0 with a 3.16 ERA. And I want to see how he's done historically against the Tigers as well, because I've talked a lot about this week how this pitching staff of the Guardians has just done so well against the Tigers. And Quantrill, he doesn't have the wins. He's 2-2 since 2020, but he does have a 2.73 ERA against the Detroit Tigers. So I'm going to continue backing the Guardians here. Give me the run line here for the Guardians. I'm not going to blink twice when I think about this one.
Dylan, I think this has got Cleveland run line written all over it for you.
Yes, sir. I'm fading the Tigers this whole series. Why stop now? Give me the Guardians -1.5. They're just a much better team right now. These two teams are going in different directions. The Tigers, they've lost 8 of their last 10, while Guardians have won 8 of their last 10. Plus, you guys know I'm high on Cal Quantrill, one of my favorite pitchers. And he hasn't lost a game since July 5th, over a month. So the Guardians have won 7 straight games he started, plus 5 straight at home. So I think he's just going to dominate the Tigers. Give me the Guardians first 5 -0.5, and I'll take the Guardians full game run line.
Yeah, I think we were all in a position where we just wanted to take the Guardians kind of run line and in relatively low scoring games this week. The fact that the Tigers got a win in the second one yesterday kind of backs up the fact that I wanted to take Cleveland on the run line even more tonight, because I think that was the one that the Tigers are going to get. I don't think Cleveland will let them off the hook a second time. So I do love Cal Quantrill as well, the same as you, Dylan. So yeah, Cleveland run line for me at +110. 7:45 Eastern first pitch is the Colorado Rockies at the St. Louis Cardinals. German Marquez goes for Colorado, and the man we just mentioned when talking about the Yankees, Jordan Montgomery, left-handed pitcher, goes for St. Louis. St. Louis are -200, 2-1 on. The Colorado Rockies are +170. Totally are set at 7.5. Back to you for your man Montgomery, Dylan.
Yeah, another dog here for me. Give me the Rockies to upset the Cardinals at +160. There's no way Montgomery should be a -200 favorite. He has pitched well in his first 2 starts with the Cardinals, but if you look at his starts before the trade, he lost 6 straight. And with German Marquez, he's actually pitched better on the road than at home this season. He just beat the Cardinals in his last start. He went 6 innings, only gave up 2 runs. So I like their chances in this spot. I think Montgomery comes back to reality a little bit. So give me the Rockies to upset the Cardinals +160.
Okay, so we've got a big dog there for Dylan. Munaf, do you agree?
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, Marquez has pretty good numbers against the Cardinals this season, and actually throughout his career, if you really want to look at it. He's been pretty good over his last 2 games, 3.23 ERA. And in 7 appearances in his career against the St. Louis Cardinals, he actually is 2-1 with a 2.59 ERA. Montgomery has been really good in his 2 starts for the St. Louis Cardinals. I believe he's thrown 11 innings for the Cardinals as a starting pitcher and only allowed 0 earned runs in that span. So also only given up 6 hits too. So which kind of brought me to the under in this game between these 2 guys. I mean, I see it as a spot where they could, where the Rockies could possibly come in and steal one. But what really concerns me is that we had talked about early in the season that the Rockies were doing really well against left-handed pitching, and since then they have kind of cooled off. But the number is starting to climb back up, where they are number 12 now in the entire league over the last 2 weeks in WRC plus against left-handed pitching. But I just feel like this is going to be a good pitcher's duel here between these 2 guys who are in good form right now. So I like the under 7.5 in this game between the Rockies and the Cardinals with Marquez and Montgomery.
Yeah, I completely disagree with you here, Dylan. I've got St. Louis on the run line here. I think St. Louis is seeing their opportunity in these 2 series with the Brewers taking on the Dodgers and St. Louis at home to potentially softer opposition in the Rockies. The Cards that know this is an opportunity to put a little bit of distance between themselves and Milwaukee. They've won 7 from their last 10, where Milwaukee is scuffing a little bit, having won 4. And again, difficult series they're playing. They've got that 2-game lead. We were high on St. Louis being able to stretch the legs and get away from Milwaukee in the second half. And I think they're going to be able to do it. I do like what Montgomery's done in his couple of starts for St. Louis. In Colorado, just terrible on the road. They're such a bad road team. They win 1 in every 3 games. So you'd want a bigger price, really. And again, you'd want them to be playing some softer opposition if you want to get a road win for Colorado. So St. Louis on the run line was my pick at +125.
Malcolm, you missed the Mets game.
Sugar. I did. You know what?
Sugar.
Before we did the Tigers game, I checked because that's 7:10 and that's 7:20. I thought, that's all right. I've got my eye on the Mets. It's all under control. Since then, I've gone whizzed past it.
You know he did on purpose, Dylan.
Yeah, it's one for Jeff Fox to tick off his bingo card, and he enjoys that. God damn it. 7:20 Eastern first pitch is the New York Mets, funnily enough, against the Atlanta Braves, which is Max Scherzer and Jake Odorizzi goes for the Braves. I've got no chance of finding where these lines are on my list, then have I? Oh, there they are. New York Mets minus 140 behind Mad Max. The Braves are plus 120. Total at 7.5. I kept this away from you again, Dylan. Munaf, lead us off with the Mets at the Braves.
Yeah, Mad Max on the mound for the New York Mets here. And again, we talked about how this is a big series for them. But Mad Max has been absolutely incredible. I mean, for the whole season, there's no better way of putting it. Or his last 5 games, he's probably the next hottest pitcher behind Justin Verlander and Dylan Cease. 2-1 with a 1.34 ERA. Only allowed 5 earned runs in 33 2/3 innings pitched. He's been absolutely incredible against the Atlanta Braves this season. In 2 starts, he's 2-0 with a 0.64 ERA, 14 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 20 strikeouts against the Atlanta Braves. On the road this season, 4-1 with a 2.16 ERA. So he's dealing right now, and I really want to see how he's done or what the final scores have kind of been in those 2 games where he started against the Braves this season. One was on July 11th where the Mets won that game 4-1. And then not last week, but August 6th in New York, the Mets also won that game 6-2. So I like what I'm seeing here. I think there's a lot of value here on the run line for the New York Mets. Give me the run line here with the New York Mets. I see that number. Minus 1.5 at plus 125. I love that. So let's go Mets and Mad Max against Jake Odorizzi here.
Excellent. A little bit extravagant there, Munaf. Dylan, you got to be happy with Munaf's handicap.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, let's go Mets. Obviously, I'm going to be on the Mets. I want to address the game yesterday real quick. It was bound to happen, boys. I'm glad the Mets got it out of their system, but I was talking to one of my friends and saying, hey, yo, we're really healthy right now. And then just like that, we lose 2 players in 24 hours. So Luis Guillorme, he's out for 3 to 4 weeks. And Cookie Carrasco, he left yesterday's game. He'll be out with 3 to 4 weeks. So we got to look towards other players. We did just call up our number 2 prospect to come up and play the infield a little bit for us. So guys got to pick up the slack until they return. So, but with our ace on the mound, I think this is a must win, especially if we don't win tonight with Taijuan Walker. We got to split the series with Scherzer and DeGrom going in the last 2 games. So like Munaf said, Scherzer's pitched really, really well against the Braves this year. He's only allowed 1 run in 14 innings against the Braves, and Mets won both of those games. He started by 2 or more runs. So I think they come out guns blazing. I do like to play on the run line, but I'm just going to take him straight up. Give me the Mets on the money line.
Yeah, I'm surprised at the lack of opportunity that a couple of the Mets prospects have had so far this season. Seems like a good environment. We've got some games into them. I haven't seen it. Is it Brett Beatty that's come up today, Dylan?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that. I've got the over in this one. Obviously, Scherzer has been light out, but I think we're going to get a bounce back game from the Mets. And it is a big series. Atlanta will be put up a lot of runs last night, and I just thought 7.5 was a little bit low. Munaf likes the Mets on the run line, so yeah, we could get some runs here. I think he said the last game finished 6-2, so a repeat of that, we'll get to 8 runs and we'll cash the over 7.5 there for me. 8:05 Eastern first pitch. Oakland Athletics at the Texas Rangers. Adam Oller for Oakland and Cole Ragans. We didn't know how to pronounce his name last week. We don't know this week. Left-handed pitcher will go for the Texas Rangers. Oakland plus 145. Texas minus 170. Total at 8.5. I mean, who wants to handicap this? Is horrible. 2 names to go. You come off for handicapping Max Scherzer and Odorizzi again with the Mets and the Braves, and then we get Oller and Ragans. But listen, a plus 170 winner is a plus 170 winner, whether it's with the Mets and Scherzer or whether it's with Oakland and Oller. Oller hasn't. I've got the word horrible written down. I've got it crossed out because he hasn't been horrible. And then I've kindly upgraded him to well below average from horrible on my notes here. He's given up 2, 4, 4, 3, and 3, which I don't think constitutes horrible, but it is well below average. 3 of his last 5 starts have been against Houston, actually. So he'd be sick of the sight of the Astros. 7.26 ERA from Ola tells you kind of everything you need to know. Cole Reagans, at least he hasn't had time to prove how bad he's going to be yet. So you might have that as an advantage over Ola. 0-1 with a 4.82 ERA. Has pitched 9 1/3 with 4 strikeouts. 2 starts. He's had 1 good, 1 bad. Who knows? I have absolutely no idea. You take the over if Oakland got score and he runs. I've got nothing. I'm taking the over at -110, but there's not an awful lot of science behind it, boys. I'm guessing. Munaf, what can you tell me about this?
I mean, you said at the top, these are two bad pitchers, and I think the only way I agree with you about the over in this game. I mean, Oakland sneakily can put up runs, against bad pitching, we talked about Adam Oller, and he has just been really, really atrocious this season. 1-5, 7.26 ERA. He gave up 5 earned runs to the Texas Rangers. I know this was back in April, but if you kind of look at him recently, he's been giving up the runs as well. And like you mentioned, it was against the Astros throughout his last 5 starts, but he also gave up 4 to the Giants, who we know are not a very good offense. He gave up 4 to the Chicago White Sox as well in 6 1/3 innings pitched. So maybe if you find a 4.5 for the first 5 innings between these two pitchers, I think that we can see a 4-2, 3-3. I think we can get above a number of 4.5 or 5 within the first 5 innings. So I'm gonna just fade both these pitchers early on, giving the first 5 over.
Dylan, what's the magic number in this one?
I actually got on the other side. I went under. I got it at a 9. I set my total at 8.2, but I really don't want any parts of this game, to be honest. Like you said, Malcolm, the A's just can't buy a win right now. They've gone under this number in 3 straight games, while the Rangers, they're 6-3-1 toward the under in their last 10 games. So both teams just really struggling to put runs on the board. So I'm probably not going to play it, but for the show, I'll lean under.
Okay, 3 games left to handicap tonight on the MLB Gambling Podcast. I'm going to tell you about Trade Coffee, one of our trusted sponsors here. Trade Coffee connects customers to the freshest and best tasting coffee they've ever made by using craft roasters from all around the country, big businesses from big and small businesses. In fact, you need to take the quiz over at Trade Coffee, where they will match you with a coffee that's perfect for you. Expert tasted coffee. They keep 450 different kinds live and ready. So after you've taken the quiz and you get your likes and preferences, that can be matched in a bespoke fashion, and they will send you a bag of freshly roasted coffee as whole beans or ground for however you brew it at home. And if they guarantee you'll love your first order, they'll replace it for free. Trade has delivered over 5 million bags of fresh coffee. Trade are offering new subscribers a total of $30 off the first order, plus free shipping when you go to drinktrade.com/SGP. So get started by taking the quiz at drinktrade.com/SGP and let Trade Coffee find you a coffee that you love. That's drinktrade.com/SGP for $30 off. And Dave, the banking app that can help you out of a little hole if you need a few quid at short notice for those unexpected bills, car repairs, that kind of thing. Dave is the banking app that can help you do that by giving you $500 instantly with extra cash. So more money to fill your gas tank, get the shopping in, etc. Whatever you need to do. If you download the Dave app from the App Store right now, that's DAVE. Sign up for an extra cash account and get up to $500 instantly. For T's and C's, go to dave.com/legal. Instant transfer fees apply. Banking provided by Evolve. It's a member of the FDIC. Next, 8:10 Eastern, first pitch, the Houston Astros at the Chicago White Sox. Framber Valdez for Houston, and Michael Kopech gets the start for the Chicago White Sox. The Astros are -145. The White Sox are home puppy at +25. Totally set at 8. Munaf, the hometown Houston Astros for you. But firstly, what did you make of that video of Tony La Russa pinch running Adam Engel because that bloke in the second row of the crowd told him to?
Yeah, I think they should hire him as a manager. I mean, it's probably a cheaper contract too, but I mean, he was right at the end of the day for him to get in there and pinch run. But yeah, White Sox pulled out the victory last night. I think that was a huge mistake by Dusty Baker last night, pulling out Jose Urquidy. He was absolutely dealing, and then Montero comes in and it really blows it up. But as far as this game, we've talked a lot about Framber Valdez, and we talked a lot about a lot of pitchers that we want to that for whatever reason struggle at home but do very well on the road. And I think Framber Valdez is one of those pitchers for the Houston Astros. And you kind of take a look at the numbers overall in the season: 11-4 with a 2.73 ERA. On the road this season, he's 8-2 with a 2.18 ERA. Did have one start earlier this year against the Chicago White Sox. It was below his standards, where he did go 6 innings and did allow 3 earned runs in that game, did strike out 7 batters. But I think he's been in great form. I know he's given up at least 3 earned runs in every single, or at least in 3 out of the last 4 starts for the Houston Astros. But I think this is a game where I think that he can come out and pitch well. Again, the Astros they're just in good form right now, and they had the game in the bag on Monday night before just a mistake made by the manager, like I mentioned. But I do like the Astros in this game. I know Michael Kopech has been going along pretty well for the White Sox as well. He is 4-8 on the season with a 3.18 ERA. And he did face the Astros earlier this year. In 5 innings, he did allow 4 earned runs to them, gave up 2 long bombs to the Houston Astros at home this season. Despite the ERA being great, Malcolm, at 2.81, he's only 1-4 at home this season. So, number one, that's just kind of telling me he's not getting the run support. I mean, when you have an offense like this coming in against Houston Astros with a pitcher that has been pretty good for the Astros over the past 5 games, I think this is a game where the Astros will come out and get the victory in this game against the White Sox. So give me the Astros money line.
Yeah, well, I'll chip in there because I made the exact same pick, Houston, on the money line. It was really down to the pitching matchup. I think on the day the White Sox can compete. I know Noah posted in our chat earlier on a little stat about just not how bad the White Sox haven't been. I know, because we've been absolutely panning them, and it kind of makes you. It makes them sound like they've been getting beat. But I think they've got the best record. Was it the best American League record over the last 30 games, maybe?
Let me double check.
It was something like that. I think it was the last 30 games they've got the best record in the American League. So they haven't been as abject as we've been making out. So yeah, this just came down to the pitchers for me. And yeah, I love what Valdez has been doing. So minus 145 just fitted into the price I was happy to take. Dylan, White Sox at home to Houston.
Yeah, I do agree with the play on the Astros, but a play I like and I'm much more confident in is I'm going to go under 8 in this Astro White Sox game. I made my line 7.7. Even though Michael Kopech is 1-4 at home, he's pitched really well, 2.81 ERA, and he didn't pitch all that bad against the Astros in his first start against him. It was probably his second worst outing of the year, but the game still ended 4-3. So the game went under. His last 3 starts at home, he's 2-1 in 18 innings, and he's only given up 4 runs. So with Framber Valdez now, he's been lights out on the road, like Munaf said, 7-2 with a 2.21 ERA. The last 3 meetings, between these clubs have gone under as well. So I think we see another low scoring game. Give me the under 8 at minus 115.
Yeah, the White Sox just 2 games back in that division, and kind of the way we've been talking, you'd think there were sort of Kansas City and Detroit. You'd think there were 14 or 15 games back, and they just haven't been. We've got a proper 3-horse race in that division. Cleveland 2 games ahead of both Minnesota and the Chicago White Sox. Might be worth revisiting those divisional odds if we get a chance. The penultimate game here is at 8:10 Eastern first pitch between the LA Dodgers and the Milwaukee Brewers. Tony Gonsolin for the LA Dodgers, and the lefty Eric Lauer is on the hill for the Brewers. The Lions, Detroit, LA Dodgers, minus 165. The Milwaukee Brewers, plus 140. Total set at 8. It's got absolutely nothing to do with Detroit. Dylan, lead us off with the Dodgers at the Brewers.
Yeah, the Dodgers got back in the winning column last night, but this total seemed a little low for me. I made my total 8.5, and if we look at the Dodgers' last 10 games, they're 6-3-1 toward the over. So with these pitchers, I think some regression is going to start to kick in at some point for Gosselin and Lauer. Gosselin has already shown some signs on the road, giving up some runs, 3 and 5 on the road. And Lauer, his last 3 starts at home, 2 of them, they went way over the number. So I think with the bats on both sides of the plate, I think we see some runs tomorrow night. So give me the over 8.
Moonath, Dodgers at Brewers.
Yeah, Tony Gonsolin. Just looking at his record, 14-1 with a 2.24 ERA, undefeated at home. On the road so far this year. I want to dig into his game log and see what the run line has looked like for the Dodgers in his start. So his last start was against the Royals. They won 8-3, 7-3 against the Rockies, 7-6 against the St. Louis Cardinals. So not only is he getting the run support on the road, but they're also covering the run line against the Braves, 5-3 against the Reds, 8-2. 4-1 victory against the White Sox. So you kind of see where I'm getting at here. I agree about the over, but I'm going to take a different angle. I'm going to take the team total over for the LA Dodgers, and I'm going to take the run line here as well. I know Eric Lauer has been pretty good at home over the course of the season, where he is 4-1 with a 2.65 ERA. But I just feel like this might be a game where he gets in a little bit of trouble against one of the best offenses, if not the best offense in the entire MLB in the Dodgers. So give me Dodgers team total over, and also the run line for the Dodgers in this game as well.
Yeah, exactly the same, Moonath. LA Dodgers run line for me. You just have to keep rolling with it. They keep winning by plenty. I can't state often enough how out I am on the Brewers offense. They shut them out last night, I think. Monday night's game, is that right?
Yeah.
It finished 4-0. It says in the standings the Brewers have scored 516 runs. That's fake news. I've watched them. They've scored about 12 runs all season. They haven't scored that many. I'm going to check that out. So yeah, the same thing. The Dodgers will score some runs and the Brewers won't. Therefore, the Dodgers run line -105 is the obvious bet. Last up, 9:45 Eastern, is the Arizona Diamondbacks at the San Francisco Giants, where Zach Davis will go for the D-backs and Carlos Rodon, left-handed pitcher for the San Francisco Giants. I have got the D-backs at +170. The Giants are 2-1 on -200. Total here is set at 7.5. Zach Davis is 2-4, 4.11 ERA, 92 innings pitched, 68 strikeouts. Rodon is 11-6, 2.95 ERA, 134 1/3 with 168 strikeouts. Davis is struggling, 5.09 ERA in his last 5 starts. He's had one decent start in that span, but you're really not hopeful of another one. They're like hen's teeth. Good starts here for Zach Davis. Carlos Rodon, he had 2 really bad starts at the end of July, but he's back on track now. I think that was his wobble for the season. So I think we can trust him here. This just seemed quite straightforward as a San Francisco Giants run line for me. +120, again, relatively low scoring, but they're at least a couple of runs better than the D-backs in this spot. So give me the Giants on the run line at +120, Moonath.
Yeah, I think that, when we talk about Zach Davies, he's just hasn't been, the pitcher I guess he was when he was with the Cubs, where he was doing actually pretty good with them. But this season 2-4 with a 4.11 ERA. Last 5 games hasn't been good. 0-1 with a 5.09 ERA on the road. 1-3 with a 5 ERA. Kind of see where I'm getting at here, and I want to see how he's done against the Giants. At least if he has faced them over the past couple seasons. So last season with the Cubs, he did face them twice, and he got blown up in both of those games against the Giants. He gave up 4 earned runs in 4 1/3 of an innings, and then 5 earned runs in just 2 innings against the Cubbies. And now you have Carlos Rodon on the mound, who's been absolutely brilliant this season. I'm kind of looking at how the Arizona Diamondbacks have done against left-handed pitching over the last 2 weeks. They ranked number 25 in WRC plus. And in the same span in slugging percentage, they are also dead last. So I think this is a good spot for the Carlos Rodon-led San Francisco Giants here in this game. So I like the run line in this game for the Giants as well. I think that's the one way to look at it. Also, probably Giants team total in this game as well, Malcolm.
Yeah, been a little bit too much agreement on this episode tonight. It's quite concerning. Dylan, is this a team ride?
I got to end the show with a nice plus money price. So, dog of the day, give me the Giants here on the run line.
Oh, this is a team ride.
You almost thought I took the D-backs real quick. But
I did, yeah.
I can't.
Oh,
Carlos Ron, he's been terrific at home. 6-1 with a 1.89 ERA. The Giants have covered the run line his last 3 starts. And Rodon has actually lost to the Snakes both times he's faced them. But it's important to know both of those games were on the road. So back at home, I think he'll have a little more success. Pitcher's Ballpark in San Francisco. You got to think he knows that as well. So maybe a little revenge factor for Rodon as well. But this is more of a fate of Zach Davies, who's been awful on the road. The D-backs have only won 2 of Davies' 9 starts on the road, and they were against the Reds and the Nationals, 2 of the worst teams in the league. So I just think this is a bad spot for him and the Snakes. So give me the Giants to win comfortably, -1.5.
Okay, so 15 games. Thoroughly handicapped. Dylan will let you carry straight on into your lock and dog picks, please.
Yes, sir. So, like I just said, Giants run line is my dog for all the reasons I just said. And for my lock, give me the Mets. Give me Max Scherzer on the money line.
Oh my God.
Yep. I need it. He's pitched well, has mentioned, allowed to run in 15 against the Braves. So I think especially if we lose tonight, I think he's going to come out laser focused. That man he's something. When he's focused, he's slapping hands so hard in the dugout. So I think the team rallies around that. So I think the Mets need this win. Give me the Mets on the money line.
So for the 37th consecutive show, Dylan gives out the Mets as his lock of the day.
That's a lie.
It's verging on a world record at this point. Dylan, Moonaf, what have you got?
Yeah, I got to agree with Dylan here. But for my dog of the day, I'm taking the Mets run line here. I think that's just a lot of good value here with the Mets, with Mad Max on the mound. And we mentioned the 2 starts that he's had this season. I know it's a very small sample, but it's Mad Max. He's in great form right now. Like I mentioned, he's probably the 3rd best pitcher right now behind Dylan Cease and Justin Verlander. Maybe in the conversation for being the best one so far, those 3 guys. But if you're giving me a run line price of -1.5 plus 125 with the New York Mets, I'm going to take that up as my dog of the day. And I think, again, we mentioned that this is the biggest series for them. And if they do lose tonight, on Tuesday night, look for Scherzer to just come out and dominate tomorrow against the Atlanta Braves. So I'll take that as my dog of the day, -1.5 plus 125 with the Mets run line. For my lock, I don't know why I was struggling to come up with one here. I think the one that really stood out to me was I was torn between 2, and I think I'm going to go with a total. And let's go with the Rays and Yankees. Give me the under 8 in this game. Again, we talked about how both of these offenses are just struggling right now. Domingo Germán has looked good since he's returned for the Yankees. And I want to see the offenses turned around for the Yankees. And since the All-Star break, they just haven't been very good. We saw that last night on Monday night where they just weren't able to get any runs produced. Guys are striking out at a very alarming rate right now. And without guys that can hit for average for this team, it's just like they're relying on the home run ball, especially in Yankee Stadium. So I think Kluber can pitch a good enough game here. And I think Germán can continue to, do what he has been doing and contain the bats of the Rays. So give me the under 8 in this game as my lock.
Okay, then. Right. When I blacked out in the middle of this episode, I had a little run of dogs that I was going to get to, and I missed the handicap for all of them. I had Baltimore plus 140, but then I was followed it up. I liked Miami at plus 120. I didn't hear what you boys said either. And I quite like Pittsburgh at plus 26. I got a load of dogs, and I got a load of run lines as well. I'm going to give out 2 run lines here. For my luck, I'm going to stick with the Dodgers. Like I say, the Brewers, I've never seen them score a run, so I'll take the Dodgers on the run line at -105. And I'm going to completely fly in the face of one of Dylan's picks. And I'm going to take St. Louis on the run line at plus 125 against Colorado. I just think they're in a good spot. Like I say, they're seeing the Brewers struggle. They really want to put some distance between them. It's a big chance for them. And Colorado on the road suck incredibly hard. So, yeah, give me St. Louis behind Montgomery and off the back of his couple of good starts as well since he came across through the Cards. And that is that. Cheers, boys. Thank you, everyone, for listening, for joining in the live chat. Dylan, anything you need to tell us before we crack on?
No, nothing much. Just going to try to enjoy my night, try to have another profitable day.
Moonaf, I've got my pen in my hand here. Sunday night in the DJs draft, I've got pick 1. I am 101. So there's nothing the boys can do about it. What name do I need to write down? You are the host of the Football Gambling Podcast. You're the man. Who am I writing down?
I'm host of the NFL Gambling Podcast, not the Fantasy Football Podcast. You're asking the wrong guy.
So that's a different thing, is it? You
have
no lead.
Why do you look so dumbfounded when I just said that? If I had to give you a number 1 overall pick,
Justin Jefferson.
Is it? What is it?
I'm not writing that down. Yeah.
What is it?
Half point PPR.
Half point.
Half.
Ah, man, I don't
half
know.
Point.
God, you kind of put me on the spot here. I will direct you to the Fantasy Football Podcast. Make sure to tune into the Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm a man of the network. I am not going to give you misinformations. But if you do want season-long bets on division previews and such, me and Dylan knocked one out last week. 2 more dropped over the course of the last 2 days, so please check those out.
Yeah, I set you up there, Moon, after advertise. That was my plan the entire time. I did listen to an episode of the Fantasy Football Podcast today. They were talking about running backs who'd been going up and down the rankings. So, yeah, I've been all over it. Well, you were no help whatsoever, Moon. Thank you very much. Cheers, everyone, for listening. We will be back tomorrow in some capacity. Good luck with all your bets. Until then, we'll see you down the road. Cheers.